What's up, FishTube? Bearded Bob once again. Just figured I'd touch base and go over some of the kind of foods that I'm using in the fish room right now. Go into probably feeding a couple of tanks. You can see how much they like this stuff and kind of where I get all this stuff from as well. So here's a quick one here. These ones are the 2.5 pounds or 2.2 pound bags of Hikari. Here's algae wafers. My plecos really love these. The shrimp do as well. Actually, all the fish, the guppies really go after them as well. And then this one is the Hikari Vibra bites. And these ones, every single fish, shrimp, snail, everything in my fish room loves this stuff. So I feed these pretty heavily. I found these 2 bags on Amazon. They're hit or miss. Sometimes you can find them. So hopefully they're still on there. I did get, I think this was the last bag of algae wafers that I could find on there. And like I said, I go through this stuff pretty quickly. What I'll do is I'll take this whole bag, I'll take out and fill up, a couple of containers, some leftover fish food containers with what I'm going to use for the next, week or so. And the rest of it I'll put into a cryovac bag and take the air out of it and pressure seal it and all that stuff. That way it stays fresh. I don't throw any of these foods in the freezer. I feel like that might actually be bad for them. They might get some moisture in there or something. We definitely don't need that. So these 2 are a staple. I use them all the time. Here's another staple. Just some good tropical flakes. These ones I buy because on Amazon they're only a couple of bucks for a gigantic container. And I just use that as like one of the feedings throughout the day. Whenever I'm home, I try to feed 3 to 4 times a day on all my guppy tanks and that kind of stuff. Plecos, I'll throw some of these in there once in a while too, just to give them a little bit of variety. So that's the staple, is these 2, and then the 1 Tetra Tropical Crisps. Sometimes I get the granules. I think they're pretty much the exact same thing, they just look different. Maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me down below. The next one is, this one I use quite a bit, is the Bugbites. I usually get the small fish formula, but they didn't have them in the 3-pack on Amazon, so this is the one that I got the last time. I did see that they have like a 6-pack of these for 25 bucks, which is pretty good. Anything less than 5 bucks a thing for it is going to be better. If you go into like your local fish store or anything like that, it's going to be probably around $5 to $6 for this little container. So that's in my local areas anyways. I don't know about yours. Maybe it's cheaper. I don't feel like it should be that expensive, considering I can get this whole thing for like $3. And then this one is, $5. I understand it's a better quality food. There's a little bit more protein in it and stuff. And again, the fish go nuts for it. I feed this at least once a day, a couple of times a week. So the next one for all of my guppies and my shrimp, and definitely the plecos. These ones are kitchen sliced green beans. They're not as good as like the French cut ones. So sometimes the casing, like the shrimp will go in here and they'll eat everything from the inside, and then you'll end up with this like kind of like clear husk. And it's sometimes it gives you a second, makes you do a second look at your aquarium because you think maybe something died because you don't know what it is. So if you see those things, eventually, like the shrimp will eat all of it. The snails will probably go in and take care of the rest in the pleco tanks and stuff, but usually that's where I see them, is in the pleco tanks. So the plecos will eat whatever green parts are there, and they'll leave that kind of membrane or whatever that's left. And then I like this Rapashi. This Community Plus is really good for everybody. So I'll make a little batch of this. I'll put it into like a little mold, and then it's easy to feed. And so what I do is I'll make it. It turns into a pretty solid gel pretty quickly, and I'll let those kind of dry on the counter for a little bit. I'll throw them in the freezer and freeze them, and then break it up into pieces or whatever and throw them into a Ziploc bag, chuck it in the freezer. That way all I got to do is go in there, grab a couple pieces here and there, I'll throw it in. Again, all the fish, all the shrimp, everybody loves this stuff as well. So everything that I feed in the fish room, if I'm feeding, I usually feed everything. The only thing that's different is these 2 GlasGarten foods, and these are the 2 that I stick to for all my shrimp. So my shrimp get this at least 3 times a week, depending on whatever else I'm feeding or whatever, but 3 times a week they get the shrimp dinner pads. And these things are pretty, it's kind of a pain sometimes. So with these, you take them apart, you take this little second lid off of here or whatever, and then inside of here are these little, whoop, can I see it? Little, see, it's like 3 little pieces there. So you got to break each one of those pieces into a piece. And depending on the size of the tank and how many shrimp are in there, one piece will go into, basically for every one piece, I count about 5 shrimp. So in my Blue Bolts tank, they get this, they get one piece, I break it into small pieces and kind of drop it in to the aquarium or whatever. And they go after it. Obviously anything left over, you're going to end up with a little bit more snail population, which it is what it is. Take them out if you want or whatever. Or let them clean up your tank. And the other one is Bacter AE, and I know there's a lot of controversy on that for whatever reason. Some people say that they put it in there and it killed their filter, or it, you know, reduced the oxygen level in their tank to a point where their shrimp died, all of them, or something like that. I've never had that issue. So I'm not really sure the validity of those claims, but again, I've never had that issue. In my 55-gallon tank, there's a little scoop that comes in this thing, and it's not very big. Let's see if I can get it open. I mean, it's just a tiny little scoop, right? So, I mean, how big is that? Maybe half a teaspoon? Maybe a little bit more than half a teaspoon? I'm not sure. One of those spoons feeds my 55-gallon tank, and I do that about twice a week. I usually do it after a water change for sure, and then I throw it in there one other time during the week as well. For like my 10-gallon tank, I don't use very much. You know, it's, you know, just a little dusting over the top of the water, and I sprinkle it right on top, and I let it have time to kind of get saturated by the water, and then it drifts down, and that'll get into nooks and crannies that all the little baby shrimp can get into, and they can eat it, where sometimes they can't get to the food because there's too many grown-ups on it or whatever. They can always get a little bit of the Bacter. So I have better populations, I think only because I feed this Bacter AE, you know, pretty regularly. So think about throwing that in there. If you're worried about, you know, suffocating all of your inhabitants or something, maybe throw an air stone in your tank, or have some more, you know, water circulation in it, something to break the surface tension of the water. Some bubbles would probably help. And just don't feed so much. You know, start off kind of slow and build up if you think you need a little bit more, if you've got more babies in there. But otherwise, that's about that. I'm going to take you around really quick, and we'll throw some Vibra bites and some algae wafers out, and I'll show you how much the fish like them. One sec. Alright, so here we got the Vibra bites. These ones are just in a little old Bugbites container, just right on there. Here's what the algae wafers look like. The Hikari ones there. I just fed some down to the plecos. We're going to toss one of these algae wafers in here, and this will be for, I have some autosinkless in that aquarium down there. Let me get a little bit here. So these are endlers, and I give them like one pinch. I mean, as you can see, there's a billion endlers in there, and I just kind of break it up, and they go absolutely crazy for it. Oh, sorry. Big feeding frenzy, always. So that's those guys. Here's, I just dropped some algae wafers down in here for these guys, and as you can see, they're going crazy for it too. I'm also going to give them a little bit of Vibra bites for some of the other inhabitants in there, and obviously the plecos really enjoy it as well. Here is, I wonder if we can get these guys eating on camera. So these ones, they don't like to come out and eat when there's people around, but you can see I leave it pretty much in like sticks like that. And we'll back up a little bit and see if these guys will come out. So these are the pygmy corridors. The shrimp also really like the food. They go nuts for it. Same thing with the little pleco that I have in here. Yeah, they're starting to come out there. They love Vibra bites. It's one of the only ways I can get them to come out fully. Obviously got to stand way back, but you can see them kind of swimming around there enjoying themselves. And then one last one, we'll do some of the tanks that I have over here. So we're running out of time for the guppies that I have in here. These are the next. These are the nebula steel ones, and they quite enjoy that stuff as well. And then these are some baby nebula steels in this tank, as well as some shrimp. So the shrimp all just got some of the shrimp dinner from GlasGarten, and they go crazy. They flock. I always kind of drop it at the same spot in the front here, and slowly these guys will realize there's food in there, and they'll come flocking to the front as well. I see the little pleco in there. I always drop in like a quarter of a piece of algae wafer into each one of these tanks to feed those guys as well. There's some of the yellows. Again, they're going to start coming out once they realize there's food. And then these are my Superman or Spider-Man shrimp. These were just culls out of my Blue Dream colony. These will be going up for sale pretty soon, so if these interest you, let me know. They don't breed exactly true, but you do end up with reds and blues and mixed, and there's no clears or anything like that, no wild shrimp come out of this line, but most of them get a little spot of red or so. You can see those guys there. Check these guys out back here. There's those. I dropped a couple pieces in for these blue bolts. You can see they all started coming out already. There's 3 out of the 6 that are in there. Oh, I thought that was one there. Oh no, there's another one. There's 4. The other one's on this leaf over here. But they seem to really enjoy this food as well. For these guys, these are the new ones that we just got in these tanks yesterday. They're on, I gave them some high protein, some bug bites for the first day, and now in this tank here, these guys look pretty skinny, which has me a little bit worried. So we're doing some of this Everything Aquatic anti-parasite duo, and this has metronidazole and praziquantel in the food. So this should help clear up if they have some kind of internal tapeworms or whatever else. I'll get in here and do some gravel vacuuming every day to make sure anything that falls out of them doesn't get eaten by them again. But everybody's coloring up, and yeah, they'll get this stuff for 7 to 10 days, twice or 3 times a day, and it'll help flush out their systems and help them feel a little bit healthier. So they're not really, hey, it's good food. They enjoy it. They go after it just like any other fish food that you drop in with guppies. But this is available on Amazon. They have the duo, and you can get different sizes of pellets. They also have a flake, and then they have a levamisol flake as well. Now the lead time on this is like 7 to 10 days. So when you order it, they make it. So it's not something that they just have sitting around. And I've used this for a number of years, and this does seem to help. I usually feed it to all of my newly acquired fish for at least 7 to 10 days. That's the only food that they'll eat, and it helps flush them out, makes them look nice and healthy. Hopefully get some girth on them, because like I said, these females were looking kind of skinny in the bag and in the container before I dumped them in, and then this male is looking a little bit skinny. They're all still kind of young, but it is what it is. So they'll get that food, you know, obviously just that food for 7 to 10 days, depending on how they're doing. And then these guys, these are the Dumbo, the red Dumbos that I was trying to create. These guys are loving the fish food too. I didn't bring any for them, sorry. Nope, ha 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 ha, just kidding. I'll feed you guys in that. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of that. Down here I've got some more guppies and some of those guys, and there's some more over here too, the plecos. These guys, they love pretty much anything you put in the tank. So I just feed them, you know, as much as I can, as often as possible, because there's quite a bit in here. I do water changes on this tank almost every other day, so don't worry about there being so many in this 20 gallon. And then these guys, once their food on top is gone, they'll go down and find the algae wafers that I dropped in. And you can see there, they're already pecking away at them. I break them up into smaller pieces. I'll also feed these shrimp and all the other shrimp the shrimp dinner. So there you go. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like, subscribe to the channel. It'll help me grow this channel a little bit more. It would be great to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Right now I'm at 400, so I'd appreciate it if you just hit that button, get me over that 1,000 subscriber hump, and I promise you won't be disappointed. I'll put out some more content coming up here. And if nothing else, leave me a comment down below. You can contact me at Bob's Fishroom, all one word, at gmail.com if you would like to purchase any of these shrimp. Let me know. Put a comment down below if you're going to send me an email. That way I remember to check it. I'd appreciate it. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.